Part 61. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 603. 601. Chi Jinmin, this girl's steps are a bit big. But considering that the policies are getting better and better now, on 1/3 of an acre in Kijia village, nothing will happen if Chi Jinmin puts in so much effort. After that, Huang Jingli told He Tian other things about Kijia village, including that Chi Fang was admitted to the health school in Huai City, Grandma Chi San, Old Man Chi was in good health, and Professor Wang and Professor Gu also returned to Nan City, and worked at Nanxi University. Sun Sihao and Qian Chicken are also applying for callbacks and are expected to return to Nanxi soon. He Tian learned a lot from Huang Jingli, and they kept chatting after dinner. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Huang Jingli, Kui Ying, and Huashan had to say goodbye. Before leaving, Huashan took a thoughtful look at the big turtle. Grandma Wang went back to the house to sleep. He Tian and Huo Yingjia each held a child and enjoyed the cool air in the yard. The little turtle said aggrievedly, "Master, that couple of dogs and men want to harm me." "Ha ha," Huo Yingjia smiled. The little turtle was getting more and more naughty and his words were so interesting. "Can he hurt you?" "Of course not," the little spinner turtle said proudly, "I just don't like them. They covet things that don't belong to them all day long. They are all greedy." "Okay, don't be afraid of him, he won't dare to do anything to you," Huo Yingjia said, "but maybe he will ask for help in the future." "I'm not afraid of asking for help," the little spin turtle said confidently, "I have a master, who should I be afraid of? So courageous." He Tian laughed and said, "No one is as good as you, okay." He, the little turtle smiled, "Okay, it's getting late, and I have to take a rest." The little spinner turtle was lying in a large water basin. If possible, he would like to swim in Suanwu Lake. After He Tian and Huo Yingjia put the child to sleep, they were exhausted and fell asleep hugging each other. Early the next morning, He Tian fed her child, put on a pink floral knee-length dress, carried a green school bag, got on Huo Yingjia's bicycle, and went to school together. Without having to take care of their children, a pair of unscrupulous parents feel like they can breathe easier. Huo Yingjia wears a white shirt and trousers. He uses a belt to tuck the shirt into the trousers. He has long legs and a handsome face. Wherever he goes, he is a luminous and attractive person. He Tian's hands were wrapped around Huo Yingjia's lean waist. This man is hers and no one can take it away from him. When he arrived at school, Huo Yingjia stored his bicycle and took He Tian to report. Huo Yingjia first accompanied He Tian to the Chinese department to register. There were 2 teachers in the Chinese department who received students there. Huang Jingli and Kui Ying had already arrived early. After checking in, they helped the teacher receive the students. Tian, please register here now," Huang Jingli said. "You don't need to live on campus, right?" "I won't live on campus," He Tian said, "I can't worry about the 2 children at home." "Okay, then you can take the daily necessities home and use them," Huang Jingli said. "By the way, after I take you to pick up the books, you can go home." "Thank you, Sister Jingli," He Tian thanked her. "I won't live on campus anymore. If anything happens, please remind me." "That's natural," Huang Jingli said, not to mention the previous experience of the 2 of them dealing with Lin Ziru. In Nanxi, after graduating from university, Huang Jingli still wanted to help distribute a good job through the connections in He Tian's family. Work. There are many benefits to continuing to maintain a good relationship with He Tian. After receiving the book, He Tian put it in her school bag and accompanied Huo Yingjia to report. Along the way, many people stared at He Tian and Huo Yingjia. "Brother Yingjia, please stop holding my hand. Everyone is watching." He Tian felt embarrassed. At the end of this year, holding hands was regarded as frivolous behavior. "We are husband and wife, and we have children. We are the closest people. What's wrong with holding hands? The police won't come to arrest us. Huo Yingja didn't care and still held He Tianatian's hand firmly. When we arrived at the mathematics department, the receptionist was also a student, and the teachers had gone back to their offices to rest. Welcome two classmates to report. What are your names? The boy asked, with thick glasses on his eyes. Huo Yingja said softly. Ah, the boy was stunned. Huo Yingja, my God, you are the first in our class, and also the first in the province. Amazing, really amazing. When everyone heard the boy's words, they all looked this way. Huo Yingja was not used to being stared at like this, so he said, okay, you can register quickly, I have something else to do. Okay, the boy said yes again and again. When he saw He Tian, his eyes lit up. What a beauty! Classmate, you. She is my wife, not from the chemistry department, but from the Chinese department. Huo Yingja said, can I get the book now? There were mostly boys in the department of physics and chemistry, and everyone kept staring at He Tian, which made Huo Yingja very unhappy and directly revealed his identity. Everyone heard that the beauty was married, and she was the top scorer in the college entrance examination. They have good grades, look good in their clothes, and have a better family background than them, so how can they compete? Since Luo Fu has a husband, they can only rest their thoughts. This is exactly Huo Yingja's purpose. These ordinary people also want to get their hands on his beauty, just dream. After collecting books and daily necessities, Huo Yingja took He Tian and left directly, even refusing invitations from other classmates to receive students together. The reason is that there are 2 hungry kids at home, so I don't have time. Huo Yingja's words made the boy speechless. He is handsome and has children, so it's great. Crying for food? You are a man and you are not a grown-up man, so you don't need to be fed. After leaving the school gate, He Tian whispered, Brother Yingja, are you too cold? Huo Yingja turned around and smiled, on the first day, I have to do this. I want to leave them with the impression that I am not easy to get along with. In the future, I will be a little nice to them and they will be very happy. Ah, He Tian was surprised, haha, it can be like this. This is the rule of the best people. If you are a good person at the beginning, you will be annoyed in the future. Huo Yingja said, also, I am not happy when those people stare at you. Hearing this, He Tian covered her mouth and laughed, and said angrily, this is a new society. You can still lock me up at home and not let me see anyone. Huo Yingja kissed He Tianatian's nose and whispered, I just want to hide you at home, so that I can see you alone and not let others see you, especially men. Brother Yingja is so domineering. But she likes it? He Tian took Huo Yingja's words as a joke, but in Huo Yingja's heart, he thought so. Tian belongs to him alone and doesn't want to be seen by other men. Just looking at the face is not enough. But he also knew that that was absolutely not possible, so he decided that after class or when he had nothing to do, he would keep an eye on He Tian and prevent other playboys from harassing his wife. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 604. 602. The two returned home, where the 2 children were giggling. He Tian and Huo Yingja looked at each other and were very reassured. Grandma Wang was really good at coaxing children. With rich experience, it's as if you can guess what the children's needs are when they make a little movement. Anyway, since Grandma Wang came to the house, the 2 children cried less and less and laughed more and more. Grandma Wang teased the children while choosing leeks, but she didn't cook. This is what He Tian and Grandma Wang agreed to do before, and they will do the cooking when He Tian comes back from school. Grandma Wang, thank you for your hard work. He Tian smiled, feeling very grateful. Haha, it's not hard work. When people get older, they like children. Grandma Wang said, these 2 children are easy to take care of. It's not troublesome. He Tian took the dishes that Grandma Wang had chosen, washed them, and started cooking. Huo Yingzhi started, and within half an hour, the hot meal was ready. After He Tian went to feed the child, she started to eat. After eating, He Tian took her child for a nap. Huo Yingzhi went to wash diapers. When Grandma Wang saw Huo Yingzhi washing diapers, she quickly stepped forward and said, "You are a man, how can you wash diapers? Let me do this." Huo Yingzhi smiled and said, "Grandma Wang, just help us take care of the children and don't do anything else. Tian and I are young, we can do these jobs." But Grandma Wang's concept is a bit old school, and she thinks this is a woman's job, but He Tian is very tired from raising two children, cooking and going to school, so she can't ask He Tian to do anything. Do this sweetly. However, seeing Huo Yingzhi doing this, she felt it was inappropriate. "Grandma Wang, this is a new society. This is also my child. Even if it is dirty, that is what I should do as a father," Huo Yingzhi said, not caring about these details. They are all his children, and he does not dislike them. Grandma Wang was very pleased after hearing this, and thought to herself, no wonder the old man has been privately praising Huo Yingzhi as the best. Just because of his concern for the child, the handsomeness cannot keep up with Yingzhi. I still remember that Huo Yingzhi once hugged his son and was pooped all over him. Huo Yingzhi didn't eat for a day, and he never helped the child change or wash diapers. When Huo Yingzhi did this, not only was he not effeminate, but he showed a more motherly heart. "Okay, this is your love as a father, I don't care," Grandma Wang said with a smile. Only by taking care of children personally can you understand the hardship of taking care of children. At the same time, with children, young people can truly mature and take on more responsibilities. After Huo Yingzhi had cleaned these things, he went back to take a nap. In the afternoon, after Huo Yingzhi woke up, he rode his bicycle to the black market in the surrounding suburbs to buy some eggs and more vegetables. He originally wanted to buy 2 old hens, but he was late today and couldn't buy any. There are more people in the market now than before. In rural areas, if there are things at home, they will sell them for money. They grow and raise them themselves, which can be regarded as an extra income. In the past, this was considered speculation, but this year no one cares about these things, so more people are selling and buying things at home. This greatly enriched people's material life, especially those who ate and supplied food in the city. Because you need a ticket to buy anything. Without a ticket, you can't buy anything at the supply and marketing cooperative even if you have money. It's not like in the countryside, as long as you have money, it's just that the price is more expensive than the supply and marketing cooperative, but the things are fresher and better. At night, He Tian put her child to sleep, took out the textbook from her school bag, and started to preview. This is He Tian's habit. Since he goes to school, he must prepare and review. If you don't understand something, just ask the universal scholar directly, and you will always get the correct and better answer. Under the light, He Tian was studying seriously. Huo Yingzhi wore his underwear and walked back and forth in front of He Tian several times, trying to attract He Tian's attention. However, He Tian's attention was always on the book, staring at the textbook and muttering in a low voice. Huo Yingzhi was quite sad. He sat down on the bed, lying on the bed in a large shape, looking at the roof. "Hey, they are young people, how can they waste their time?" "Tian, I'm a little thirsty," Huo Yingzhi whispered, distracting He Tian, hoping that He Tian would notice him. "There is water on the table, you can pour it yourself." He Tian did not look up and continued reading. "Pour it yourself? Huh, no more drinking. Tian, my back is itchy. Please scratch it for me." Huo Yingzhi was unwilling to give in. It was time to pay attention to him. He Tian raised her head this time, pointed to the backrest beside the bed, and said, "There's an itch there, scratch it yourself." After that, he continued reading. "No need to scratch, he can also scratch his back. Tian Tian doesn't care about him anymore, Huo Yingzhe is a bit hypocritical. Then I'm going to sleep." Huo Yingzhe turned over, his back facing He Tian Tian. "You go to sleep first, I will read for a while." He Tian Tian did not look up and continued reading. Huo Yingzhe was angry. After He Tian Tian finally previewed the first lesson of several courses, she stood up, stretched, washed herself again, fed her child, and then turned off the lights and went to sleep. He Tian Tian was lying on the bed, feeling a little uncomfortable, as if she was a little different from before. At this time, He Tian Tian realized that Huo Yingzhe was not holding her and sleeping in front of her as usual. He Tian Tian was sure that Huo Yingzhe was not asleep. If he ignored her now, he would be angry. Why is a grown man so angry at night? He Tian Tian felt confused and thought about what she had done wrong. Suddenly she remembered that when she was reviewing, Huo Yingzhe had been running out of words to talk to. She didn't pay much attention. It must be because of this incident. Hey, after coaxing the two little ones, now I'm still coaxing the older child. He Tian Tian didn't have many tricks to coax men, but she had just enough to deal with Huo Yingzhe. "Brother Yingzhe, my eyes hurt," He Tian Tian said delicately. Huo Yingzhe said nothing. "Brother Yingzhe, my ears are itchy." Huo Yingzhe felt a little loose. "Brother Yingzhe, my stomach hurts." Huo Yingzhe turned around, glared at He Tian Tian, and said, "Okay, don't hurt this or that, you're just a little liar." He Tian Tian smiled, "I was reading a book just now and ignored you. Please don't be angry. I won't do it again." "Okay, I forgive you today," Huo Yingzhe said, "as long as you know the knowledge, why bother working so hard and being so tired?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 605. 603. He Tian Tian didn't understand the world of academic masters, but she insisted that as long as she studied, she had to study hard and get excellent results, otherwise she wouldn't study to save time. However, the man was angry now, so she had to be obedient. "Brother Yingzhe, I miss you," He Tian Tian whispered. If there is something in the future, it is better to tell her directly, so as not to make him angry, and this little woman doesn't know anything. Even if she knew, it was too late. The two hugged each other and fell asleep. The child cried at night, and He Tian Tian got up in a daze to feed the child. Huo Yingzhe got up and changed the child's diaper. The two divided the work and cooperated tacitly. The two children fell asleep after eating and drinking. The couple could continue to sleep. Even though they were tired at night, they were still energetic when they got up in the morning. Huo Yingzhe took care of the child and He Tian Tian cooked. After dinner, he handed the child to Grandma Wang to take care of him. Huo Yingzhe rode his bicycle and took He Tian Tian to school together. He Tianation's home is not far from Nanxi University, and it only takes 20 minutes to ride a bike. When they arrived at the school, Huo Yingzhe sent He Tian Tian to the Chinese department before going to the chemistry department. After entering the classroom, He Tian Tian looked up and looked for familiar people. He Tian Tian was wearing a white shirt today, blue straight pants, a pair of white leather sandals, and long hair tied into a high ponytail, with a little curl at the end. Her rosy face and big eyes were shining. Because He Tian Tian went home after reporting, she was not familiar with other classmates in the class. Many people also saw He Tian Tian for the first time and stared at her. "Tian Tian, this way," Huang Jingli waved her hand, motioning He Tian Tian to come to her side. There was a seat next to her. He Tian smiled when she heard Huang Jingli's voice, and the classroom became quiet immediately. The girls envied He Tian's beauty, and the boys stared at He Tian with their eyes wide open, hoping that their gaze could attract He Tian's attention. Okay, I'm here. He Tian smiled, walked towards Huang Jingli, and sat in the seat reserved by Huang Jingli. Originally, I wanted to talk to Huang Jingli and Kui Ying about school, but the head teacher came. The classroom was quiet, and the head teacher thought it was because of him, and was very satisfied. Today is the first class. I am your head teacher, Teacher Chen, who teaches you Chinese. Teacher Chen said, you come from all over the world and don't know each other. On the first day, we won't have class, let's get to know each other. Come on, start with the first student, come forward and introduce yourself. Teacher Chen said that in college, not only should we learn knowledge, but also exercise students' emotional intelligence and ability to deal with things. Everyone introduced themselves one by one. Unless they were special, everyone could remember them. Others would not be remembered by one sentence. For example, there was a student whose name was very strange. His surname was Ma and his first name was Tong, which was called Ma Toilet. This name, just thinking about it, feels a bit weird. So this tall and strong Ma Toilet classmate left a deep impression on the students, and almost everyone remembered him. There are also handsome men and women who leave a good impression on everyone. Huang Jingli is average looking, but she helped the teacher to bring new students to register yesterday, so most people have an impression of her. When she introduced herself, she received applause from everyone. Then it was Kui Ying. Kui Ying is a cold beauty who doesn't like to joke. Her self-introduction is also very formal, but it doesn't matter. She is good looking, which is an advantage. She still received applause from everyone, especially those boys. At this time, boys will not make inappropriate actions such as whistling. Their way of expression is also very polite, that is, clapping hard and staring without blinking. When it was He Tian's turn, the class suddenly became quiet. He Tian stood at the edge of the podium, glanced below, and smiled softly. My name is He Tian, I am from Nanjing. It's our first meeting. Please take care of me in the future. Thank you. He Tian's self-introduction was very brief. She had prepared a lot, but being stared at by so many people, He Tian felt shy, so she just said these two sentences directly, bowed to everyone, and returned to her seat. It was not until He Tian walked to her seat that the applause in the class rang out. The first class ended with everyone's self-introduction. Teacher Chen did not speak, but insisted on listening to the students' self-introductions and memorizing their appearance and names. The second class was still a Chinese class. Teacher Chen began to lecture, and when he called people to answer questions, he compared the names on the roll call book and memorized them carefully. After 2 classes, Teacher Chen basically remembered most of the people. He Tian took notes seriously. When she was preparing before, some of her ideas were more perfect and her thinking was broadened under the teacher's explanation. When the get out of class was over, the students chatted in groups of 3 or 2. Most of the students in this class were young people from the city, and everyone had a story. Listening to the discussions of the students around her, He Tian also thought of her life as an educated youth. At the beginning of the school year, everyone was enthusiastic and the atmosphere of learning was strong. Everyone cherished the hard-won opportunity to go to school and absorbed new knowledge like a sponge. The whole morning was spent in intense learning. A girl in the seat in front of He Tian named Qin Li turned around and asked, He Tian, school is over, let's go to the cafeteria together. I really want to go to the cafeteria to eat with my classmates, He Tian said tactfully, but I have 2 children at home, and I'm worried about it, so I have to go home at noon and can't eat with everyone. Ah, Qin Li was stunned and looked at He Tian up and down. She didn't look like a mother of 2 children at all. The sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 606. 604. Almost everyone doesn't believe that He Tian is married and has children, because it doesn't look like it at all. Huang Jingli smiled and said, He Tian is married and the child is half a year old. O Qin Li nodded, aren't you also an educated youth? Where is your husband? He Tian smiled, looked outside the classroom, and said, yes, but there is no rule that educated youth cannot have children. Haha, my husband is coming to pick me up. I won't say any more, let's go first. See you in the afternoon. He Tian packed up her books and said goodbye to everyone. After leaving the door, Huo Yingzhi took He Tian's school bag over. Looking at He Tian and Huo Yingzhi's leaving figures, Qin Li sighed, they are so good looking. Haha, that's right, the man is talented and the woman is beautiful. Huang Jingli said, let's go, stop looking, let's go eat together. When she first met He Tian, Huo Yingzhi was also surprised. It was very hot at noon, but He Tian and Huo Yingzhi insisted on going home. Just because there are two children at home who worry about them all the time, they can't feel at ease without seeing their children. After dinner, there is no lunch break at noon, but it doesn't matter. After Huo Yingzhi sent He Tian to the classroom, more people saw Huo Yingzhi, and many people in the class had to accept the fact that He Tian was married and had children. The single boys are filled with resentment, the single girls are very lucky. That's good, at least there won't be so many stares. People in this era, as long as they are not the kind of evil-minded or evil-minded people, will not pester a married woman, even if the woman is very beautiful and beautiful. This saves He Tian a lot of trouble. She was not afraid of those people's entanglement, but she was afraid that Huo Yingzhi would become jealous. Jealous men are extremely petty and childish. Although she was nervous about her, it also made He Tian a little annoyed sometimes. But He Tian would think differently. By the same token, if Huo Yingzhi was sticky with other women, she would also be angry and jealous. After all, Huo Yingzhi is also a man among men, with a handsome face and heroic appearance. This is the first college entrance examination after 10 years. It can be said that those who can get into college are those who work hard and are motivated. Even if there is a long love between children, it is always behind studying. Therefore, the learning atmosphere in the school is very good. On this day, when Huo Yingzhi went to pick up He Tian, he encountered Huashan talking to a middle-aged man. Uncle Junior, you are finally here, Huashan said excitedly. We found a giant turtle that had become sperm at the home of Huo Yingzhi and He Tian in Nan City. Kui Hung was stunned and frowned. Is there really a giant tortoise that has become a spirit? I didn't believe it before, but after seeing that big turtle, I believed it, Huashan said. I checked the information about that turtle, and it looks a bit like a spinning turtle from ancient times. Spin turtle? Kui Hung's eyes lit up, interesting. Then I will stay in Nanji for a while. What is your current identity? Huashan asked. This junior uncle is also a great person. He needs to stay in one place for a period of time, and he needs to have a very respectable identity. I don't know how the little uncle did it. Kui Hung smiled and said, you can go to university, so at my age, I will naturally become a professor. I am now a professor in the Department of History and Archaeology of Nanji University. From now on, you will be my student, so you have to be a good student. Listen to the class. Yeah, yes, Uncle, Huashan nodded. He didn't dare to be careless. The younger uncle would scold others if he was unhappy. Huashan didn't want to be the target of his junior uncle's attack every day. At this moment, Huo Yingzhi walked over as if nothing had happened. But it's hard to come. Someone is coveting his little spinner turtle. Huashan, you are here too, this is. Huo Yingzhi pretended not to recognize Kui Hung. The man's face looked middle-aged, but his eyes were sharp, and you could tell at a glance that there was something wrong with Kui Hong on his face. Human skin mask. In the past in Kijia village, Huo Yingja was unwilling to pay attention to them, but now that these people are chasing them, he has to pay attention to them. Thinking about the big turtle in Huo Yingja's yard, if they wanted to see it, they had to go to Huo Yingja's house, so Huashan was very enthusiastic and introduced, Yingja, this is Kui Ying's uncle, Professor Kui, who works in history. He is my teacher from the Department of Archaeology. He used to participate in archaeology in the back mountain of Kijia village. You should have met him. Hello, Professor Kui, Huo Yingja said respectfully, very politely. Huo Yingja never thinks that arrogance is the best way to show one's status and aura. On the contrary, being polite can better show one's cultivation and aura. Huo Yingja appeared, making Kui Hong narrow his eyes. When he was in Kijia village, Kui Hong saw Huo Yingja from a distance and didn't pay much attention to it. However, standing nearby and face to face, he could always feel an instinctive nervousness. This tension comes out of nowhere. Kui Hong immediately strengthened his senses, but couldn't feel anything at all. This made him a little frustrated and confused. Hello, I didn't expect that we are all so destined. It's really rare that we met each other in Kijia village and that we can study together after coming to Nanji. Kui Hong said, I hope you will get along well in the future without any discord. Yes, Professor Kui, Huashan responded with a smile. Huo Yingja also nodded and said, that's natural. Indeed, as you said, it's fate that we can be together. Okay, you guys chat first. I have something else to do and I'm going back to the office first. Kui Hong said goodbye. Anyway, now that we have struck up a conversation, there will be plenty of opportunities to chat in the future. After Kui Hong left, Huashan looked at Huo Yingja and asked, Yingja, are you going to pick up He Tian Tian? Yes, Huo Yingja nodded, together. Huashan's face was slightly red, and he said nervously, then let's go together. I'm going to pick up Kui Ying too. Huashan really wanted to be with his junior sister Kui Ying, but his master gave him a task to test him. He hoped that he could pass the test before he could marry his junior sister. But until now, he has not completed his mission, and he doesn't know when he will finally get married to his junior sister. In the eyes of outsiders, their relationship was not close, but now that they heard Huo Yingja's half-smiling tone, they guessed that Huo Yingja knew about their relationship. The two of them were speechless all the way to the Chinese department. Huang Jingli was very envious and said to the two beauties next to her, hey, you two are so happy. One already has a husband and children, the other also has a loyal suitor. I am the only one who is alone and lonely. How pitiful. Huang Jingli left Kijia village, escaped Lin Xiru's threat and control, and became much more cheerful. If you are envious, then quickly find a partner and have a vigorous love affair. He Tian Tian smiled and said, when you get married, I will give you a big gift. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 607. 605. Such Huang Jingli is so sweet, Kui Ying is willing to get along well with her and become friends. Count me in, Huang Jingli, I hope you can get married before you are 27. Kui Ying said, getting acquainted with Huang Jingli. Her impression of Huang Jingli also changed greatly. Huang Jingli curled her lips and said, I would like to have a good relationship, but falling in love is not about playing with cotton. How can it be so easy to find the right person? I'd better study hard. We are destined to meet each other thousands of miles away, but if we are not destined to meet each other, we will not meet each other. He Tian Tian comforted, you don't have to sigh, it's just that the fate has not arrived yet. Let's comfort ourselves like this. Huang Jingli said, you should go quickly, I have to send the homework to the office. Huang Jingli was unanimously elected as the class monitor because of her enthusiasm to help her classmates. She also temporarily acted as the class representative of the Chinese class, so she was responsible for sending and receiving homework. Thank you for your hard work, I'll leave first. He Tian said goodbye to Huang Jingli. Kui Ying also went to the cafeteria with Huashan, getting into a pair. Nanshi University does not interfere with, promote, or prohibit students' romantic behaviors. This is the students' freedom. Besides, many people have delayed their marriages because they went to the mountains and countryside. After going to college, it is very reasonable to want to find someone with similar interests. When schools are cultivating students' knowledge, they should also pay attention to their life events. Don't interfere, don't encourage. Free love, voluntary marriage. As He Tian walked, she talked to Huo Yingzhi about some things in class. One told the story happily, while the other listened quietly. Huo Yingzhi was a bit tall, so when he was listening, he tilted his head slightly and looked at He Tian with unbreakable tenderness in his eyes. Cousin, why are you here? Qin Li was a little unhappy when she saw that her cousin had been staring at her classmate He Tian, or to be precise, at He Tian's husband. When Wang Bing heard his cousin's voice, he withdrew his eyes and said, "My job has been transferred to Nanshi University. I knew you were taking classes here, so I came here to have dinner with you. You little heartless kid, you don't appreciate it." Thank you, Qin Li said, "It's just cousin, don't stare at my classmate's husband in the future. He is already married. It's not good for you to do this." Wang Bing was angry in her heart, but she didn't dare to be angry with her cousin. After all, her uncle had a higher official position than her father, and the father of the family still relied on her uncle. "Okay, I just thought that person looked familiar, and I remembered that the two of us had been in a car together," Wang Bing explained. "What are you thinking in your little head?" Qin Li wrinkled her pretty little nose and said with a smile, "In that case, just think that I am just having random thoughts." Qin Li is neither an idiot nor a child, so how could she not see the possessiveness in her cousin's eyes? Hey, Qin Li recently heard that her cousin often went on blind dates, but she didn't like one. Now that she was showing such a look to a man, Qin Li had to remind her to prevent this capable and sophisticated cousin from doing something disgraceful. In Qin Li's eyes, she felt that He Tian and Huo Yingzhi were a perfect match, and they were extremely loving. If her cousin got involved, she would definitely become a joke. Cousin is her uncle's only daughter, and her mother loves her cousin very much. Qin Li doesn't want her cousin to be stubborn. "Let's go, cousin will take you to eat delicious food." Wang Bing smiled and took his cousin to the cafeteria. Wang Bing couldn't help but not look at Huo Yingzhi's leaving figure. If she could go back in time and make her a few years younger, she would also like to go to college and become a proud college student who can stand upright by Huo Yingzhi's side. Ever since he learned about Huo Yingzhi's identity, his handsome face, and his tall and straight figure, Wang Bing has been thinking about him and can no longer look down on anyone else. So she applied to be transferred to Nanshi University, hoping that she could get a job first come first served. However, Wang Bing also knew that approaching Huo Yingzhi rashly would not lead to any results. Just like that time at the hospital entrance, when she pretended to fall, Huo Yingzhi seemed not to notice, and she Shiren left. Since it's not easy to get close to Huo Yingzhi, let's start from He Tian's side. Since ancient times, heroes have struggled with beauty, which has led to another idiom: beauty is a disaster. Good looking is He Tian's advantage, but it is also her disadvantage. Some men will do anything for a beautiful woman. As long as a seed of doubt is planted in Huo Yingzhi's heart, the seed will grow into a towering tree sooner or later. While Wang Bing and Qin Li were eating in the cafeteria, the two girls at the table next to them were discussing, and the object of the discussion was Huo Yingzhi, whom Wang Bing had always wanted. "Feng Qing, you are a talented girl from our chemistry department. You are beautiful and have a good family background. There are so many suitors around you. Why are you so sad?" one of the delicate girls with a few freckles on her face asked in a low voice, obviously expressing confusion about a good friend's sorrow. Feng frowned lightly and sighed, Wu Xiaofang, you don't understand. Wu Xiaofang scratched her head and said, of course I won't understand if you don't tell me, but I will understand if you tell me. Hey, it's too late to meet again. Feng sighed softly, fully expressing her current thoughts. Wu Xiaofang still didn't understand, shook her head and said, I don't understand. It's amazing that you understand. Feng said softly, hey, a good man is already married, what a pity. When Wu Xiaofang heard this, her eyes widened, and she thought of her classmate Huo Yingzhe, and said, don't you have a crush on Huo Yingzhe? So what? Feng said softly, so what if it's not? Anyway, I'm already married. Yes, just remember that they are married, Wu Xiaofang said, besides, there are so many outstanding men in the school, and there is always someone better than Huo Yingzhe. Don't hang yourself on a tree that already has an owner. Feng sighed softly and lamented, hey, there is no better man than Huo Yingzhe. This sentence also expressed Wang Bing's inner thoughts. Feng Qingqing, isn't this Feng Qiaoqiao's cousin? Looking at Feng Qiaoqiao's moist, delicate, and young face, Wang Bing felt a little jealous in his heart. It's great to be young. She can say whatever she wants, but she can't. Qin Li felt a little worried when she saw her cousin's expression changing again and again, but as a younger sister, she couldn't teach her cousin a lesson, especially about her cousin's most important marriage. Go back in the evening, talk to your mother in private, and ask her to continue introducing partners to her cousin when she is free. When a woman gets married and has children, she may feel at ease. Wang Bing ate this meal so much that he didn't know how to taste it. He kept thinking about other things. She thought she hid it well and did not see the confusion and sadness in her cousin's eyes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 608. 606. The weekend arrived in a blink of an eye. Now it is a one-week holiday, with one day off on Sunday. He Tiantian and Huo Yingzhe cannot stay with Ruimin and Ruhua at home. They are going to visit Professor Wang and Professor Gu. Professor Wang and Professor Gu live in the original faculty dormitory building. This path, although patchy, is filled with the laughter of children and restored to life. He Tiantian found the place according to the address. Oh, Tiantian, Yingzhe, it turns out it's you, come in, come in. Professor Wang opened the door and they were very happy to see He Tiantian. He Tiantian handed over the fruits and a chicken she bought, and said, Professor Wang, Professor Gu, I just came to visit you now, please hi Han. Oh, you are going to school and taking care of children, how can you have time? Professor Wang said. In Qijia village, thanks to He Tianatian's explanation, she and the old man could think clearly. Secretary Qi of Qijia village is a good person. She does not rub them against each other and eats well, so she and the old man have always been in good health. Alas, after I came back this time, many of my old colleagues were either no longer alive, or they were exhausted and were about to die. Haha, I'll come here as soon as I have time, He Tiantian said. You can accept this thing. You are still so polite. You come as soon as you come and bring something with you, Professor Wang said politely, but she and He Tiantian stayed away, collected the things and put them in the kitchen. Where's Professor Gu? He Tiantian asked. He had been in for a while and hadn't seen Professor Gu yet. He went to a meeting, Professor Wang said. There is a shortage of teachers in the school. We have reached the retirement age, but we were rehired to use our remaining energy. When Professor Wang said these words, she felt very happy. She could finally stand on the podium again. Then you and Professor Gu should pay attention to your health, He Tiantian said. A class is so long, you'd better bring chairs so you can take a break at any time to avoid getting tired. We are in good health and will be fine, Professor Wang said. When new teachers are trained, we can retire and spend our remaining years in peace. How difficult it is for them to spend their old age in darkness. While He Tiantian was happy for them, she was also impressed by Professor Wang's radiant face and pride in using his remaining energy. By the way, Professor Wang, you and Professor Gu are back. What about Uncle Qian and Uncle Sun? He Tiantian asked. I guess they are back too, right? Professor Wang smiled and said, the two of them used to have bad compositions, but now they have submitted the materials, and it is estimated that they will be able to come back by the end of the year. That's great, He Tiantian said, it's much better now than before, and it will become more and more relaxed in the future. A legal society is urgent, Professor Wang said. From the signals released by the college entrance examination, we can see that the country has begun to reverse its mistakes and return to the normal track. Professor Wang is satisfied to be able to see this day in his lifetime. He Tiantian helped Professor Wang cook. At noon, Professor Gu bought steamed buns from the canteen. When he came back, he was very happy to see He Tiantian and Huo Yingjia. Cook a few more dishes today to thank you for taking care of us, the old couple, Professor Gu said. If it weren't for Tiantian, we two old guys, we don't know what we would be like. He Tiantian shook her head repeatedly and said, the two professors are highly respected, I just did a small thing. In her previous life, even without her, Professor Wang and Professor Gu returned to Nanxi safely, so she fully deserved Professor Gu's gratitude. What you did at that time was undoubtedly a help in times of need, Professor Gu said, we will always keep it in our hearts. At noon, Professor Wang cooked a table of dishes to thank He Tiantian. After dinner, Professor Wang and He Tiantian were chatting in the kitchen while doing housework. Professor Gu and Huo Yingjia were in the living room, drinking tea and talking about future university trends. Professor Gu got some novel ideas from Huo Yingjia. In the afternoon, when He Tiantian and Huo Yingjia went back, the two old men sent them far away. On the road, Huo Yingjia pushed his bicycle, and He Tiantian walked beside Huo Yingjia, silently. It's getting better now, why are you frowning? Huo Yingjia asked softly, looking at He Tiantian. He Tiantian smiled and said, I'm not frowning, I'm just thinking about things. At that time, Professor Gu, Professor Wang, and others both arrived in Qijia village in the same year. In Qijia village, although I experienced it's a lot of things, but I'm finally doing well, everyone is safe and I'm very lucky. It's over. As long as everything goes well, Huo Yingjia smiled, there is still a long road ahead. Let's look forward together. Yes, He Tiantian nodded and smiled, no matter what happens in the future, I will feel at ease as long as you are by my side. Back home, the two little guys were giggling like tigers. Hearing the child's laughter, He Tiantian and Huo Yingjia no longer had any worries. A month has passed in the blink of an eye, and autumn has arrived. It was drizzling outside, but in autumn, with a layer of autumn rain and a layer of coolness, everyone put on thick autumn clothes. The child is more than 7 months old and can already crawl. He cannot be away from others for a moment. One time, He Tiantian was folding clothes while taking care of her children. Suddenly, Huo Ruiman's child fell off the bed and hit a bag on his head. The pain made He Tiantian burst into tears. On the other hand, the child Huo Ruiman, after howling a few times, continued to crawl around on the big bed as if nothing was wrong, very naughty. On the other hand, the son, Huo Ruwa, is more honest, or rather lazy. Can lie down but never crawl. At first, He Tiantian suspected that there was something wrong with her son, so she took her to the hospital and asked her mother-in-law to check her. The results showed that the child was fine, but he just didn't like to move. The doctor said it very tactfully, but in fact it was just one word, lazy. There are advantages to being lazy, at least you won't fall off the bed. The naughty Huo Ruiman will have something happen to her every now and then. I really don't understand that the personalities of these two children are so different. Okay, you didn't mean it. It's normal for children to bump into each other when they are young. Huo Yingji saw that He Tiantian had been depressed and blamed himself, so he persuaded him in a low voice. He Tiantian wiped her tears and said, "It was all my fault. If I were a little off, I would have hit my eyes. Okay, from now on we will stagger each other. When you are working, call me and I will look after the child and never let the child bump into you. Is that okay?" Huo Yingji said. At the same time, he was a little worried about growing up like this. Will my child become a naughty child in the future? The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 609. 607. Busy going back and forth between school and home, very busy, but very fulfilling. While He Tiantian was learning knowledge, he also felt the warmth of family and the joy among relatives. The two children were like pistachios, making He Tiantian feel good every day. Wang Shuping mails things to He Tiantian every month, including a 2-seat stroller. The autumn air was crisp. After receiving it, He Tiantian asked Huo Yingji to assemble it according to the instructions and prepare to take the children out for a walk on the weekend. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang rarely rested together. On weekends, they took Grandma Wang and their two children to the lake together. Huo Yingji and Huo Jekan brought fishing rods and prepared to go fishing. Zhang Lifang supported Grandma Wang, and He Tiantian pushed the two children to play in Suanwu Lake 2 kilometers away. The weather is clear and the sun is shining, which is the best autumn of the year. If you are in a rural area, now is a good time for autumn harvest. In the city, there is no autumn harvest. Everyone can only feel the arrival of autumn and the changes of the 4 seasons from the surrounding scenery. In order to prevent the sun from being harmful to the children's eyes, He Tiantian specially brought a brimmed hat for the children, which can protect their eyes. The daughter Huo Ruimin has a red hat, and the son has a blue hat. Not only Huo Ruimin's 2 big eyes looked at the novel world around him, but even the usually lazy little kid Huo Ruimin also had curiosity in his eyes, with his hands on the small table next to him. If her body hadn't been fixed to the car, Huo Ruimin would have been able to crawl out of the car. The stylish and novel car, together with He Tiantian and Huo Yingji, a beautiful father and mother, are even more eye-catching. People passing by on the road stared at them from time to time. When they arrived at the lake, Huo Jekan and Huo Yingji found a suitable fishing position, then loaded up the bait and started fishing. He Tiantian was wearing a big light yellow sun hat, pushing the car around, basking in the sun. The two children in the car were babbling, as if they were having a discussion. But he may be teething and drooling all the time. He Tiantian would wipe their saliva with a handkerchief from time to time, and there was also a cute mouthpiece tied around his neck. Ah, ah. Huo Ruimin smiled and saw the water birds on the lake rising and falling from time to time, calling twice, and stretching out her hands in the air. That aura was as if he wanted to take it home and make soup. The little spinner turtle also has a holiday today. When he arrived at the lake, he went directly into the water and swam happily under the water. It was not swimming aimlessly in the water. It was rare for its owner to come out to play. It wanted to do something to make its owner happy, so it drove some fish from the bottom of the lake to the side. I saw that Huo Yingji and Huo Jekan had just put down the fishing rods, and soon they bit the hook, and a string of white fish on the water surface suddenly sank. This is the result of the fish trying to escape and falling after biting the hook. Huo Jekan and Huo Yingji didn't care to talk. They lifted the fishing rod with all their strength, and 2 fish weighing more than 2 kilograms were lifted out of the water. "What a big fish," Zhang Lifang said. "Aunt Wang, you sit on the chair and I will bring the basket to them." "Okay, I caught a fish. Let's go back and cook the fish for lunch," Grandma Wang said with a smile. Although she was a little uncomfortable in Nanji, Huo Jekan and his wife, He Tiantian and his wife, respected her very much, and their 2 children also. He was very cute, so she thought it would be good to stay in Nanjing. Especially the climate here is much better than the dry climate in Yanjing. Just like today's beautiful autumn scenery, you can't enjoy it in Yanjing. That's right. Tianation's cooking skills are very good. A fish can be cooked in different ways. Zhang Lifang did not hesitate to praise He Tian. She only knew that her cooking skills were not good, so she was particularly envious of good cooks. Yes, Yingzhe is a lucky young man, Grandma Wang said with a smile. She had lived with Huo Yingzhe and He Tian for almost 2 months, so she could see clearly. This young couple has a good relationship. You love me and I miss you. He never quarreled, never blushed, and had a better relationship than Huo Yingzhen and his wife in Beijing. Zhang Lifang put the fish in a fish basket and placed it by the water. This can ensure that the fish in the fish basket are always alive and kicking. Huo Zhekan and Huo Yingzhe were really lucky today. After changing the bait, they caught another fish in less than 2 minutes. Not small fish, but big fish weighing 2 to 3 kilograms. Huo Yingzhe felt the presence of the little spin turtle and knew what was going on. But Huo Zhekan and others didn't know that, and thought they were lucky enough to catch such a big fish today. He Tian also found it interesting and pushed the cart over to watch 2 people fishing. At this time, 3 people walked by not far away. Kui Ying waved to He Tian from afar and said, Tian, what a coincidence, you are here too. Yeah, it's really a coincidence, He Tian said. Are you guys coming to fish too? Yes, Huashan. Professor Kui learned that the scenery here is good and came here to have fun. Kui Ying explained that in fact, they knew that He Tian and his family were out for fun and came here on purpose. Just pretend to be a casual encounter on the surface. He Tian didn't know, but Huo Yingzhe knew very well. Fortunately, these people didn't have any ill intentions yet, so he wouldn't deal with them for the time being. Sometimes, you can't fight violence with violence. I beat the small one, and then the small one came, which was very troublesome. He wants to live a peaceful life, but he is destined not to act willfully. The air is crisp now in autumn and it's neither too cold nor too hot. It's the best time to go out and play, He Tian said. I have some snacks over there, come over and have some. Kui Ying's eyes lit up. She especially liked the snacks made by He Tian. She nodded repeatedly, okay. He Tian took out the snacks, placed them on the bench, and chatted with Kui Ying while eating the snacks. Seeing her mother eating, Huo Ruiman's child was so anxious that she drooled and looked at her mother with big eyes. Haha, we were so busy eating that we forgot about Ruiman, Kui Ying said with a smile. Here, you can eat some too. Kui Min broke off some crumbs and put them in Huo Ruiman's mouth. The fragrant and sweet snack crumbs were immediately praised by Huo Ruiman's children. They squinted their eyes and chewed with contented mouth. After swallowing, they screamed ah to remind the adults to continue feeding. Although the kid Huo Ruwa is very restrained, he also has no moral integrity when it comes to food. But he didn't scream, and just stared at the snacks in He Tianation's hands with a very pious look. He Tian felt that not giving her son snacks was like treating her son badly. He Tian fed her son a little, and Huo Ruwa's child also squinted his eyes happily after eating the snack. The 2 little cuties were so funny. Kui Ying wished she could have a pair of such children. A bite here, a bite there. After a while, the 2 children had eaten half a piece of snack. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 610. 608. The child is still young and is in the stage of breastfeeding, so he cannot eat too much complementary food. Kui Ying, okay, don't feed it to them, He Tian said softly. If you eat too much complementary food, the child will not be willing to breastfeed properly. After all, the taste of milk powder and milk is not good compared with these snacks. Okay, after Kui Ying heard this, she couldn't continue feeding her and ate up all the snacks in her hand. He Tian poured some warm water from the thermos into the bottle and gave it to the two children, asking them to drink more water. But before drinking water, He Tian and Zhang Lifang came over to help the child pee. He Tian missed the diapers in future generations very much. At least when traveling, she didn't have to worry about pooping or peeing. Just as He Tian was taking care of her son, Kui Ying whispered, "Tian, look, is that Qin Li?" He Tian stood up, squinted her eyes, took a few glances, nodded, and said, "That's Qin Li. There's a woman next to her." Kui Ying looked at it, thought for a moment, and said, "I know her. She is Qin Li's cousin Wang Bing. She is the school doctor of our school." "Yeah, isn't Wang Bing in the same hospital as her mother-in-law?" Zhang Lifang heard this, took a few glances and replied, "Wang Bing's medical skills are quite good. The hospital is focusing on training her. I don't know why she wants to go to Nanji University to be a school doctor. It's a pity. There is no comparison between the school doctor and the doctors at Nanji First People's Hospital. That's really hard to imagine." He Tian said that as the school's school doctor, she usually only deals with minor illnesses such as headaches, fever, colds, fevers, and broken skin. It does not bring any benefit to the improvement of medical skills. Yes, Zhang Lifang was heartbroken. There was an urgent shortage of doctors now. The departure of such an experienced doctor made her feel resentful. But this was Wang Bing's own choice, and Zhang Lifang couldn't say anything. After all, the school nurse is also a doctor. Many people speculate that Wang Bing has been single and wants to become a school doctor so that he can have more time for blind dates and find his in-laws. Over there, Qin Li accompanied Wang Bing on a blind date. The other party was a teacher at Nanji Forestry University, and her parents were also intellectuals. The man is about 1.75 meters tall and has a decent appearance. Qin Li felt that she and her cousin were a good match, but when she saw her cousin's perfunctory expression, she guessed that her cousin was not satisfied. Originally, Wang Bing wanted to stay a little longer to get this matter over with. After all, her aunt helped her organize it. She also had a cousin by her side, so she couldn't be too picky. However, when he saw He Tian not far away, Wang Bing suddenly felt bad. Why can this woman get such an excellent Huo Yingja, but she can't? If He Tian is there, Huo Yingja is not far away either. Wang Bing's eyes searched around He Tian, and sure enough he saw Huo Yingja, who was fishing with Deputy Mayor Huo. Such a proud man, so dazzling. If she can't get such a man, her beauty and her life will be in vain. The man was very satisfied with Wang Bing at first, but now Wang Bing's thoughts were not on his side. Following Wang Bing's eyes, he saw a handsome man. He felt inferior and did not want to bring humiliation, so he made an excuse. Left. Seeing that the person left, Qin Li was quite dissatisfied and said, "Cousin, you." Wang Bing lowered his head and said nothing. Seeing her arrogant cousin showing such an attitude, Qin Li couldn't bear it anymore, and sighed, "Hey, cousin, you are my sister, older than me, and you should know more about people and the world than me, so you can take care of yourself." Wang Bing raised his head, with tears in his eyes, and said softly, "Lily, I just don't want to force myself." Reluctantly. People today can't fall in her cousin's eyes. She no longer knows what kind of man can make her cousin fall in love. No, my cousin was not so impatient at first. Even though she was unwilling in her heart, she did not dislike her on the surface. It wasn't until he saw He Tian, or Huo Yingja, that he became perfunctory. Huo Yingja? Qin Li was sure that her cousin's eyes just fell on Huo Yingja. "Cousin, Huo Yingja is already married." "You can't do that." Qin Li quickly stopped her. Huo Yingja was indeed excellent, but he was already married. No woman with a sense of shame would do anything to destroy other people's families. Furthermore, Qin Li knew that Huo Yingzhe and He Tiantian had a very good relationship. They also had a pair of lovely twin daughters and sons, and they had a very happy and complete family. If my cousin penetrates me forcefully, she will not end well. Now you are free to fall in love and get married. So what if you get married? If you get married, you can still get divorced, Wang Bing said in a deep voice, finally making up his mind. Her previous hesitation made her waste a lot of things. At this moment today, Wang Bing finally decided that no matter what the outcome was, she would fight for it and work hard, otherwise she would not give in for the rest of her life. As if she didn't recognize her cousin, Qin Li took 2 steps back, widened her eyes, and said nonchalantly, cousin, it's immoral for you to do this. But I love Huo Yingzhe, Wang Bing said stubbornly, I have liked Huo Yingzhe from the first time I met him. It's just that at that time, we didn't know each other and missed each other. Wang Bing's mind flashed back to the first time she met Huo Yingzhe. If Huo Yingzhe had shown such magnanimity and demeanor, how could she have gotten it wrong? You can't turn back time, and Wang Bing knows there's no point regretting it. In order not to regret it for the rest of his life, Wang Bing decided to give it a try. First time meeting Huo Yingzhe, Qin Li was surprised, were you at school that day? Wang Bing raised his head, looked at Huo Yingzhe, and said, of course not, we have known each other since the 1970s. When we first met, there was a misunderstanding that made us miss each other. If I just give up like this, we will never get a chance in this life. In 1970, it has been 7 years now. 7 years. If Huo Yingzhe liked his cousin, something would have happened long ago. However, Huo Yingzhe didn't show any expression at all. Cousin, you like Huo Yingzhe, but does Huo Yingzhe like you? Qin Li asked. If it was just a one-sided obsession with her cousin, then it was destined to not end well. If you can't get it yourself, and it will cause harm to others or other people's families, why bother? Qin Li's words made Wang Bing's breath hitch. Huo Yingzhe doesn't like her? This fact made it difficult for Wang Bing to breathe. After a while, Wang Bing squinted his eyes, looked at the sparkling lake, and said word by word, if we are together, Huo Yingzhe will like me. Qin Li couldn't believe it. Oh my god, she had always known that her cousin Wang Bing was beautiful and smart since she was a child. She had always been called other people's children by the elders in the family, and was required to follow her cousin as a role model. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 611. 609. Cousin Wang Bing grew up surrounded by praise from her elders in the family, which also developed her arrogant character. In the past, Qin Li knew that her cousin was arrogant, but at least she had a good outlook on things. But after hearing her cousin's love remarks, Qin Li was speechless. That is not arrogance, pride, nor confidence, but arrogance. Arrogant and arrogant. Arrogant to the point of stupidity. Cousin, please wake up, Qin Li shouted loudly, look at this big family, a harmonious family, a loving father and filial son, a beautiful and generous wife, and cute and healthy children. Do you think Huo Yingzhe gave up for a woman he doesn't like? Is life so good now? Wang Bing felt embarrassed when he heard Qin Li's words, and at the same time there was a trace of hatred in his eyes. Qin Li didn't want her cousin to be stubborn and said, no way, Huo Yingzhe can't give up, so he can't like you. Qin Li's words made Wang Bing look pale, bite his lips tightly, and tremble all over. No. It's not. Wang Bing stuttered and retorted, I don't believe it. Why don't you believe it? Qin Li asked, then He Tiantian is prettier than you, has a better family background than you, is younger than you, and can even have children better than you. How do you think you can beat He Tiantian? Wang Bing's pupils shrank, he suddenly reached out and slapped Qin Li, and said through his teeth, "You don't need to worry about my affairs." After Wang Bing finished speaking, he looked at Huo Yingjia and He Tian not far away, then turned and left. She won't give up easily. She can definitely get what she wants, especially a man. Qin Li covered her face, in disbelief that her cousin slapped her for a man she had nothing to do with. Is my cousin crazy? Looking at her cousin Wang Bing's leaving figure, her steps somewhat staggering, Qin Li realized that she had underestimated her cousin's stubbornness. No, she couldn't just watch her cousin get deeper into trouble. She went home now and told her mother to let her mother and aunt persuade her cousin. Wang Bing did not go back, but went to a small park near his home and sat silently on a lounge chair. Feng Qiao, with her big belly, went out to buy groceries with her sister Feng Qingqing, and saw Wang Bing with a gloomy expression. "Wang Bing, why are you sitting here? It's very cold at night, don't catch a cold," Feng Qiao said with concern. "I'm making braised pork ribs at home tonight. It's your favorite food. You must come over." When Wang Bing saw Feng Qiao, he quickly adjusted his mood and said with a smile, "Okay, I will definitely bother you then. Since I went to Nanxi University, I haven't seen you for a long time. I didn't expect to see you this time. You can be a mother soon." "Haha, time flies so fast," Feng Qiao said. "You have been transferred to the university, and I am in the hospital and have no company. Then I will often come to play with you in the future," Wang Bing said with a smile. "When the time comes, don't find me annoying. We have been friends since childhood, why would I bother you?" Feng Qiao said. "Let's go and sit at my house." Feng Qingqing, carrying something, followed behind his cousin Wang Bing. When they arrived at Feng's house, Feng Qiao's mother asked Wang Bing about the blind date with concern, which made Wang Bing very angry, but she was an elder and she couldn't turn her back. "Hey, I knew I wouldn't be able to come here." After dinner, Wang Bing said goodbye and left on the grounds that her parents were waiting for her at home. Walking on the dark road, Wang Bing folded his arms and used his own body temperature to warm himself. Thinking about what happened today, Wang Bing felt very regretful after slapping his cousin. At the same time, the words he said to his cousin were extremely inappropriate. Maybe, she will apologize to her cousin tomorrow. After all, her cousin also worked hard, but she just didn't understand her feelings. Wang Bing walked home slowly and took out the key to open the door. I originally thought my parents had taken a rest, but when I opened the door, I saw my parents, aunt, uncle, Qin Li, and Qin Kai sitting in the living room. Since she came in, she has been staring at Wang Bing. Wang Bing could tell from everyone's expressions that his big-mouthed cousin had already told his parents and elders about the matter. The guilt Wang Bing felt towards his cousin Qin Li disappeared because of Qin Li's informing, and instead he started to hate Qin Li. This is her own business and no one else needs to interfere. "Xiao Bing, how was the blind date today?" Wang Bing's mother asked, not questioning her daughter immediately. After all, this is the daughter she raised with her own hands. She is so good, how could she do or say such a thing? In Wang Bing's mother's heart, she did not believe her niece's words. Wang Bing lowered his head and whispered, "I don't think it's appropriate. He is only 1.75 meters tall. I am 1.68 meters tall. With my leather shoes on, I am almost as tall as him. The little Zheng the day before yesterday was quite tall, wasn't he?" Wang Bing's mother asked. "That man also looked very upright. That man has a bad breath." Wang Bing whispered, talking about the man's shortcomings. "Then last week Xiao Hu, Qin Li's mother said, that young man is very clean, has no breath, and is quite tall." Wang Bing raised his head slightly, paused, and said slowly, "That man's family has 8 brothers and sisters. It's a mess. It will be troublesome in the future. Anyway, those who don't succeed have problems." Wang Bing's mother became anxious and said, "Then what do you like?" You said, "We will find it as you say, but I can make it clear to you, married women, no matter how good we are, we can't do that shamelessly thing." Married? Wang Bing glanced at Qin Li. This cousin was really talkative. After all, she had to tell the elders in the family. If her aunt and her family were not around, she would be able to convince her parents. The mother has always felt that her daughter should marry high. As for the father, as long as it can help his career, being married is also a treasure. Of course, Wang Bing could not say these private words in front of her aunt and family, especially Qin Li. She never wanted to see Qin Li again, even if she was a cousin who grew up together. Wang Bing did not speak, but quickly walked into his room and closed the door forcefully. "Xiao Bing, come out and ask you something, but you haven't said it yet," Wang Bing's mother said angrily. "Why doesn't this child listen to others' advice? It was embarrassing in front of my sister-in-law's family." When Qin Li's mother, Wang Mei, saw her niece like this, she could only sigh and said, "Sister-in-law, you have to take good care of Bing Bing like this. Our ancestors of the Wang family are also from a scholarly family, so we can't do such a shameful thing." Wang Bing's mother Cai Ying is embarrassed on the face. She has always been strong. Her daughter has been smart and sensible since she was a child, and she has always been proud of her. Now that her sister-in-law said this, Cai Ying felt very aggrieved. However, her daughter did not explain, but went directly into the house. This was acquiescence. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 612. 610. When Qin Li saw her cousin like this, she knew that their family here was unnecessary. Anyway, they have already said what needs to be said. If the cousin is still stubborn, there is nothing they can do about it. If the cow refuses to drink water and is forced to have its head pressed, she will not be grateful, but will hate them. "Dad, Mom, it's getting late, let's go back first," Qin Li said. "My cousin is so smart, my aunt will definitely persuade her. The presence of so many of us will make my cousin uncomfortable." Qin Dachuan thought for a while. After all, this is a matter of the Wang family. They are relatives after all. It is not good to talk too much. Even though it is well-intentioned, they cannot interfere too much. "Brother, sister-in-law, we'd better go back first," Qin Dachuan said. "If anything happens, we'll come back." Qin Li's mother, Wang Mei, still wanted to say something, but when she saw her husband, her daughter stared at her, suggesting that she should stop talking. Her words turned into a sigh and said, "Xiao Bing, sister-in-law, brother, please give me some advice." Qin Li's family of 4 came out of Wang's house and returned home in silence. "Lily, you and Xiao Bing are in the same school. You should pay more attention to your cousin and don't let her do anything immoral." Wang Mei finally couldn't help it when she returned home. Qin Li pointed at the redness and swelling on her face and said sadly, "Mom, have you seen it? I persuaded my cousin to get beaten today. At that time, she saw my classmate's family playing by the Suanwu lake, and I persuaded her to. After a few words, she hit me like a madman. Anyway, I said everything I needed to say. No matter how much I said, I wouldn't interfere." Qin Dachuan frowned and said, "Okay, Lily is also good for Xiao Bing, but she just doesn't listen to the advice and even beats Lily. In the future, you should not go around looking for partners. Tell me, in the past 2 or 3 years, how much have you done? Even your niece doesn't like it? Because of this incident, we have offended many people and become a stranger inside and outside. We are all one family." Wang Mei was short of breath. She was also very dissatisfied with this niece, but there was only one niece in her family. If she didn't care, who else could she expect? "Okay, we'll just be relatives from now on," Qin Dachuan said. "Don't worry too much." After saying that, he entered the study. Qin Kai's mind was never on such trivial matters. He was always thinking about asking a woman to go out tomorrow. Qin Li was exhausted both physically and mentally today and didn't want to talk to her mother about these things. After washing, she went back to her room to rest. Only Wang Mei stayed where she was, secretly worried. By the side of Suanwu Lake, He Tiantian was surprised to see Wang Bing slap Qin Li from a distance. Aren't they cousins? Why are you angry? Kui Ying'er was smart and said in a low voice, Tiantian, there's something wrong with that Wang Bing's look over here. Be careful and don't get too close to that woman. Even though Kui Ying didn't hear what Qin Li and Wang Bing were saying, she could vaguely sense Wang Bing's malice, so she reminded He Tiantian. He Tiantian smiled and said, I don't know that person, so just stay away and ignore him. As long as you know what's going on. Kui Ying stopped. She was not the kind of person who gossiped about people behind their backs. It was already very difficult to say such things to He Tiantian. If there is a conflict between husband and wife because of another woman, it is first of all because there is a problem in the relationship between husband and wife. If there is no problem, other women can't get in. He Tiantian was so comforting. However, He Tiantian also heard a saying in later generations, as long as the hoe dances well, there is no city wall that cannot be dug down. If the third party involved is shrewd or patient, he may be able to divide and destroy it from the outside world. Hey, in order to be able to be together, the two of them went through several years of hardships before they had the life they have now. However, when we are together, life is not settled once and for all, let alone smooth. There are more or less people or things that will make the future life full of thorns, and even different forks in the road of life. How to move forward together firmly requires joint efforts and persistence. In the morning, everyone spent a very pleasant weekend morning on the edge of Suanwu Lake. Huo Yingzhe was carrying a basket full of fish. There were more than a dozen or nearly 20 kilograms of fish in it. At home, Grandma Wang takes care of the children, He Tiantian cooks, Huo Yingzhe cleans 2 fish, and raises the others in a big basin. They catch and kill them when they are ready. In the future, we don't have to buy fish at home. If we want to eat fish, we can go fishing there, Zhang Lifang said with a smile, feeling very good after eating the West Lake vinegar fish made by He Tiantian. Huo Jekan smiled and said, the fish in Suanwu Lake have not been caught in the net for many years, and I don't know how many fish there are. I saw it today. Not only did we go fishing, but there were other people. Maybe in the near future, the lake there will be a sharp decline in fish. If it's just fishing, then it's fine. We won't finish fishing in such a big lake, Zhang Lifang said, I'm just worried that someone will poison or use electricity to electrocute the fish. Haha, it seems that we need to study how to manage Suanwu Lake. After all, this is the largest freshwater lake in Nan City, Huo Jekan said. If it is damaged, it will affect the daily life of the people. Huo Yingzhe was not worried at all. Not all the fish in Suanwu Lake were so unlucky. The little spinner turtles drove them to the shore and allowed them to take the bait. Many people fish and only get 1, 2, or 3 trophies in a morning, so fishing will not have much impact on Suanwu Lake. As long as the father instructs his subordinate units to pay more attention, it can be prevented. In the evening, after a storm, He Tiantian lay in Huo Yingzhe's arms, tracing circles on Huo Yingzhe's chest with her fingers, feeling affectionate and hesitant. What's wrong? Are you worried? Huo Yingzhe grabbed He Tianatian's little hand and asked softly. He Tiantian was also tired today. Huo Yingzhe didn't want to be teased to the point where he couldn't let go, so he could only stop He Tiantian from causing chaos with his naughty little hands. He Tiantian raised her head slightly, looked at Huo Yingzhe, and said softly, I find you are a disaster. Disaster? Huo Yingzhe couldn't help laughing when he heard this. Isn't this used to describe women? Beauty is disaster. After Huo Yingzhe finished speaking, he gently bit He Tianatian's nose. What did this little woman see that made her say such a thing? If beauty is a trouble, then beauty is a trouble, he Tian Tian insisted. You are an out and out trouble with blue beauty. Wherever you go, women will like you. Ah, Huo Yingzhe was stunned and laughed. Did you misunderstand? There is no misunderstanding, he Tian Tian said angrily. I know that there used to be Zhou Yuan, and now that she is in college, there are others. Maybe there were others who liked you when I didn't know.